Part of Chateau de Purnon's allure lies in her elusive mysteries. The answers hidden over the centuries, but the clues lying all around us. Our architect once said to us, "All the keys are here, we just need to find them." One of these mysteries lies under Château de Purnon's immense central dome. A vast space with a fireplace, a vaulted ceiling and spectacular views. The largest room in the chateau. But why did Purnon's architect create such a grand room high up in the chateau's roof? This week at Château de Purnon, join us as we uncover the clues to solve this mystery and begin the journey to restore this incredible space.
When we first arrived over 4 years ago, the huge space was packed with old furniture. Some damaged after years of use, and others abandoned, the victims of changing tastes and fashion. With the immense project to restore the roof and facade set to start, our architect instructed us to empty this room. The thousands of items, large and small, needed to be placed in storage. Nothing was to be discarded.
As Tim started to move these treasures down several flights of stairs, our heritage architect's experienced eye noticed a series of wooden supports. Although he'd never seen them before, he knew instantly what they were. They were pieces of an 18th century billiard table, an incredibly rare find in France today. Sure enough, as the huge attics emptied, other pieces started to appear.
Within a few days, we reassembled the table, piece by piece, for the first time in probably just under 2 centuries. And with the help of the Chateau archives, the mystery about the vaulted room was solved. The archives detail the construction of the Marquis Achard de la Haye's billiard room, a luxurious heated space beneath the central dome. But restoring this space would not be easy. The staircase connecting the first floor to the attic had shifted over the centuries and would need to be completely realigned. And the room itself, at the apex of the chateau's failing roof, had suffered over the decades with rainwater infiltration. And so the work began to straighten the staircase. First, a pulley was installed that literally wrenched the staircase, millimetre by millimetre, centimetre by centimetre, back to its original alignment. Over the course of about 4 weeks, the deformation disappeared. Then metal frames were installed under the landings on each floor to stop the staircase slipping back out of shape when the pulley was eventually released. Finally, metal pins were concealed in the wood stringers and secured by resins that reinforced the integrity of the staircase.
Là, on a donc fabriqué un cadre en métallique qui va nous tenir en fait la partie palier. Voilà, donc il y a donc un cadre ici au premier et un cadre d'abord au deuxième. Donc qui est tenu en fait dans les chevrons qui sont derrière, chevrons bois tout autour. L'avantage d'un cadre métallique, c'est qu'en fait c'est pour éviter la flexion, voilà, comme dans gauche-droite.
Then work began on the room itself. First, the monumental central dome was carefully restored. The slate tiles painstakingly replaced. Then the damaged pieces of the internal oak frame could be restored. And, more recently, the restoration of the latticework and render, resulting in yet another intriguing discovery.
On est sur ce qu'on appelle, nous, la recherche de couleurs et de matière par rapport à ce qu'on a existant sur les murs. Donc c'est vraiment quelque chose d'extrêmement important pour nous parce que ça va déterminer toute la technicité qu'on va mettre en place pour la mise en œuvre en fait de l'enduit. On vient à créer une structure en châtaignier, comme on peut voir en fait avant, oui. Comme il y a en face là-bas, oui, ouais. Comme il faisait à l'époque. Donc là en l'occurrence sur notre latibois, on va faire ce qu'on appelle un dégrossi. Donc en gros c'est un gobetit plus épais avec notamment en fait de la fibre naturelle.
Oui d'accord, c'est-à-dire...
Ce qu'on appelle une fibre naturelle, ça peut très bien de la fibre végétale, de la fibre animale, donc notamment les poils des animaux, oui, tout simplement. Okay. Et là, en l'occurrence, on arrive à déterminer, mais on n'est pas sûr à 100%, vu que ça date d'époque. Donc, on ne sait pas si c'est véritablement... Alors, c'est pas de la fibre végétale, donc c'est pas de la plante. Mm-hmm. Et là où on a un doute, on ne sait pas si c'est vraiment de la fibre animale, donc notamment les poils d'animaux, les crins de chevaux par exemple, ou les poils de mouton dus à la tonte. Si c'est des poils d'animaux aussi, mais de gibier, notamment oui. Du blaireau, du renard, du sanglier, ouais. Comme parfois on peut rencontrer, où là du coup la particularité, et c'est là où on a quand même un sacré doute, ça pourrait être très bien aussi de la fibre naturelle mais humaine, notamment au niveau des cheveux, au niveau des coupes. À l'époque, il faut savoir qu'ils récupéraient véritablement tout ce qu'ils pouvaient pour faire de la construction. C'est pour ça que sur d'autres châteaux, par exemple, on retrouve du crin de cheval dans les enduits. Parfois, on retrouve des poils de gibier, donc notamment du sanglier, qui est pas mal. Oui. Et parfois, même vraiment du mélange des deux.
D'accord, ok.
Donc là, on ne sait pas trop. À des endroits, on est vraiment sur de la fibre végétale qui est extrêmement fine, qui rappelle le cheveu humain. Donc, en fait, cette fibre naturelle-là, on va l'utiliser véritablement sur notre couche d'accroche au niveau de notre structure, sur notre corps d'enduit qui va nous permettre en fait de rattraper nos épaisseurs. Oui. Qui sont extrêmement importantes. Et donc du coup, si en fait on ne vient pas à mettre de la fibre dans nos enduits, ils auront tendance à vraiment fissurer et dans le temps à travailler beaucoup trop et ça ne tiendra pas en fait. C'est pour ça qu'on vient à rajouter de la fibre à l'intérieur pour que les mouvements du bâtiment ne jouent pas énormément sur nos enduits. Okay. On est vraiment dans la recherche, vu qu'on essaye de reproduire à l'existant comme ils avaient fait à l'époque avec les produits d'aujourd'hui qui ne sont pas fabriqués de la même manière. C'est pour ça qu'on a énormément de recherche, de temps de latence, entre guillemets, entre ce qu'on voudrait faire et l'exécution.
Oui, d'accord, ok.
Voilà.
Ouais, c'est beaucoup de travail.
Exactement, de recherche en amont pour pouvoir en fait accéder à un résultat voilà, parfait, on l'espère.
Oui, c'est toujours parfait ici. Ok, super, merci.
Voilà.
Merci Mathieu.
Sur la technique de fond, le lati, c'est vu. La technique de fond, ça me paraît bien. Il faut bien, par contre, que
écarter notre lati.
Écarter le lati et bien jeter et écraser le truc pour que ça fasse des bons bourrelets qui vont faire clé. Ensuite, effectivement, la couche de finition, sablon, terre de sienne et chaud en pâte et cheveux. Comme ça, on va pouvoir travailler là-dessus. Reboucher les trous et commencer à avoir un beau billard sympathique.
Well, here it is, Purnon's extraordinary reassembled 18th century billiard table. It's one of the oldest surviving billiard tables anywhere in France today. Certainly we haven't been able to find an older one. When it was constructed in 1784 by the carpenter who crafted so many of the furniture items here at Château de Purnon, it would have had a parquetry tabletop. Now when you think about it, parquetry is not the ideal material for constructing a surface that needs to be perfectly flat. It would have warped and deformed over time. And perhaps that explains why we haven't been able to find any trace of the original parquetry tabletop. Now by the 18th century, the game of billiards had started to evolve. Pockets were introduced, and you can see pockets around the edges of this table. The carpenter who designed and constructed this table would have been following this model from Diderot's 1771 encyclopedia. And you can see that he's followed the model exactly. The pockets, or blouse as they were called in French, are clearly marked. This German engraving from the mid-18th century also shows the pockets clearly marked. Now we often sing the praises of our heritage architect, the extraordinary Monsieur Frédéric Didier, the architect in charge at the Chateau of Versailles. But his expertise was perhaps never more on display than when he came upon this item here in Purnon's attic. At that stage, he hadn't discovered any of the elements of Purnon's original billiard table. But I was with him, and he picked this up, and he handed it to me, and he said, "It may not look like much, but this is very, very important. It's old, and you must protect it. It's one of the original holders of the candlesticks that would have sat above Purnon's billiard table, that would have illuminated the table and enabled the players to continue playing after the sun had gone down. Look, you can see them here in Diderot's plans from 1771, clearly marked, sitting in the frame, suspended above the table. And you can see them again in the German engraving from the mid-18th century. And it was this centuries-old tin candlestick holder that provided Monsieur Frédéric Didier with the first clue, the first hint that perhaps around us in Purnon's attic would lie the pieces of an 18th century billiard table that once sat at Château de Purnon. And so here it is, reassembled, ready to be protected, and we hope one day restored, and to return to its rightful place at the apex of Purnon, in the roof, in the attic, in the room that was designed and constructed specifically for her. What a remarkable piece of French history, what an incredible find here at Chateau de Purnon. So one of the things I love about our project here, Saving Chateau de Purnon, is the kind of sliding doors moments. We had that incredible moment where we appointed Monsieur Frédéric Didier to be our architect in charge of this incredible project. And we did speak with other architects, but I think by choosing Monsieur Didier, it completely transformed our journey here and our project here, and really watching him identify the pieces of this table, things that we could easily have considered to have been junk when we first came upon them. But he knew instantly what they were, he knew their significance, and this pile of really discarded old bits of disassembled wood from the 18th century has now been reassembled and it really is such a precious thing. And I think so often about how Monsieur Didier and his expertise has transformed our project here at Purnon and saved so many rare treasures that otherwise could have been lost.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because for me, what was fascinating was the discovery of the human hair in the render, in the billiard room. And you think that you get to a stage where everything has been discovered and you've already found all these wonderful things, and that's an incredible story. But yet then there's more, and the discovery of the human hair to help ensure that the render doesn't crack and allow the render to move with movements in the building was really incredible. And it's not a morbid thing, the use of human hair. At the start it sort of feels a bit uncomfortable, doesn't it? But it actually is very practical. They were using also the animal hair from animals that they were eating here on the domain, or animals that they were hunting in the woods, and human hair would have been readily available. And so the human hair that we are using here has been collected from hairdressing salons. It's a natural thing. We all get our hair cut frequently, and it's been washed and treated for us to use here. And it really is just another example of how particular our architect is about doing things that are historically accurate, and that the restoration here is really following the footsteps of how it was done originally. And I found that just so incredibly fascinating.
Yeah, it's all about authenticity, it's about faithfulness, it's about historical accuracy, and it really is, it's just such an important part of doing things properly and honouring and respecting the history and spirit of the chateau. And we can't wait to see this table restored and returned to its proper place in the attic of the chateau, in the billiard room, in the room that was designed for it originally. And we think that'll be a great moment in the restoration project that we're undertaking here.
Yeah, an incredible journey, isn't it? Well, if you would like to follow the restoration of Chateau de Purnon more closely, we post a daily update in our Instagram stories. We post an exclusive weekly video on Patreon, where this week Tim takes you through the evolution of travel with the discovery of all the travel trunks here at Chateau de Purnon. Otherwise, just tip the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and we'll keep you updated here.